Joining us now is OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Janet.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How was your weekend?
Happy Workers' Day.
Happy Workers' Day. Amazing. I hope you're going to have a great day after this show and enjoy your romantic music. Good morning. You know, I'll always throw you on that bus. Good morning, Ayo. How are you?
I love your ox blood outfit.
Oh, yes,
I am saying that for, because this is
this man will call it maroon. How are you?
Maroon,
I know.
Because I remember Arsenal won this
a
couple of years back.
How are you? How was your weekend?
I'm good.
Perfect.
And it's just sacrifice. Sacrifice.
You are teaching us. We sacrifice. On a Monday morning refine. Let's relax. Okay. Well, all right. Good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United States, President Joe Biden at the annual White House Correspondents Association dinner over the weekend referred to truth buried by lies in an apparent reference to false conspiracy theories by Fox News that his 2020 election win was the result of a massive voter fraud. Zeroing in on what he characterized as an extreme press, Biden at the same time joked that if he called Fox News honest, fair and truthful, then he can be sued for defamation.
I'd call Fox honest, fair and truthful. Then I could be sued for defamation.
In the United Kingdom, the office of the Archbishop of Canterbury announced on Sunday that the King of England, Charles III's coronation on May 6th is set to include an invitation to the public to swear allegiance to the monarch and to his heirs and successors. The King's coronation celebrates the traditions of over 1,000 years with the participation of people of all ages and many faiths and backgrounds. On Coronation Day, King Charles will wear robes of crimson and purple velvet that were once worn by his grandfather, King George VI, at his own coronation in 1937. In Nigeria, the country's central bank over the weekend debunked reports that it planned to phase out the newly redesigned 1,000, 500 and 200 naira notes as fake news. In a communique, the Apex Bank reiterated that the new and old currency notes have been circulating side by side, just as the bank has been taking delivery of a good quantity of the redesigned banknotes from the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting Company. Then, the Arise News Channel, led by the chairman, This Day Arise Media Group, Prince Nduka Obaigbena, donated a whopping 1 billion naira to the Western Delta University over the weekend during its 15th Founders Day celebrations and lecture in Okara, Delta State. The donation is to be used to set up the Media and Technology School and to help enhance the school's development. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, and the immediate past governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, who graced the occasion, agreed to become visiting lecturers at the university. Under sports, FC Barcelona striker Asisat Oshoala was on the score sheet on Sunday as Barcelona Femení were crowned the champions of the 2022-2023 Women's Spanish Primera Division. The Blaugrana secured their fourth consecutive league triumph after a 3-0 win over Sporting de Huelva at the Camp Nou Stadium. Oshoala has enjoyed a spell of success with the club since joining in 2019. She has won 4 league trophies and became the first African woman to win the Women's UEFA Champions League in 2021. Finally, under entertainment, BBC Studios announced on Sunday that multiple award-winning Afrobeat star Tiwa Savage is billed to perform at the historical coronation of King Charles III, making her the first Nigerian artist to perform at the British Royal Coronation Ceremony. The coronation concert will hold on the grounds of Windsor Castle as part of a 3-day festivity, which begins on May 7th. The concert will feature other artists, including Lionel Richie, Katy Perry, Take That, and a host of others.
So congratulations to Tiwa Savage. Well, all right, let's begin what's trending. Following up on the war in Sudan, the federal government of Nigeria over the weekend announced that it has deployed 3 Nigerian Air Force C-130 aircraft to evacuate stranded Nigerians who are currently at the Sudanese border back to Nigeria. This is as the Nigerian Ambassador to the Republic of Sudan, Safiu Olaniyan, in a viral voice note, gave updates on the situation at the border where no fewer than 1,000 Nigerian nationals are stranded in buses hired for transportation from the war-torn country to Egypt. However, it is reported that the Air Force aircraft which landed in Egypt over the weekend has been on standby as Egyptian authorities are yet to give entry clearance to Nigerians and other nationals stuck at the border. Well, a Nigerian evacuee stranded at the Sudanese border in a viral video narrated his ordeal while pleading for the intervention of the federal government. Let's take a look.
We need to leave. Please save us. We have children among us. As you can see, this is one of my sons. We have those children that are 2 weeks old. We have pregnant women among us. There was a video I made earlier. I'm making another one now. Please, we need your help. We need your help. Those in charge should please see us through. And we are pleading to the Nigerian embassy. They shouldn't be angry with the youths, with whatever they might have said. There's whatever might have happened. We just need to get out of this place. Please, we need your cooperation. Please help us, the Nigerian government.
Obviously, you know, guys, this has caused a lot of uproar. Let me take a Twitter reaction from Spotlight, who wrote, Egypt refusing passage to Nigerians fleeing a war zone shows that Africa has failed to integrate. Nigeria's inability to secure all diplomatic approvals, including landing permit for Air Peace, who was denied landing, is subpar. No one will respect you if you don't value yourself. Well, in the meantime, the federal government has denied mismanaging the $1.2 million approved for the evacuation of Nigerians from the war-torn Sudan. The Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center had accused the Nigerian government of coming up with a fake evacuation plan, stating that some students paid money to the bus drivers, conveying them to buy their way out of troubled Sudan.
That $1.2 million you're talking about is not just for the entire response. It's only for one item, for the buses. Do you know how much it takes to hire a bus from Khartoum to the border? $30,000 per bus. $30,000 per bus times 40 buses. Can somebody, any good mathematician amongst you?
1.2 billion.
That is not billion. Million. That is where your 1.2 million comes into. We now mobilized the first tranche approved by federal government out of this, which is $400,000, and transferred it. If you take out $400,000, what does it come to?
800,000.
No, 1/3 of the total. Once they gave us 13 buses times $30,000 is how much? 390. 30. Can somebody calculate for me?
That's 390.
390. They stopped giving us. You remember I told you they gave us 13,000. They're supposed to give us 13 point something buses. They kept the 10,000.
Well, I mean, there's still so much discrepancy in this whole conversation about misappropriation of funds. You know, we talked about this last week, the $1.2 million people are saying was excessive. It's good that he has given this breakdown. But, you know, the main story which I took about the Air Force, you know, being deployed, the C-130 being deployed to Egypt. They were deployed, I believe, on Friday, and they have been there for 3 days. We're talking about mismanagement of funds. I believe the employees, the there, the military guys in the plane had been sending messages. I'll read one of the messages that they sent, which is what they require the federal government to do at this point. One of them is for the president to intervene at the highest level to break the intraceable diplomatic immigration deadlock at the border, solve the contractual logjam with drivers, that's the bus drivers, inform the headquarters of NAF of decision of aircrew and aircraft the national interests need to stay back. Well, another request is note and effect the necessary logistical changes brought about by extending mission duration. Dr. Bati, I believe you talked earlier about the, the NAF aircraft jet that has been deployed there. I mean, I don't understand who dropped the ball here in terms of communication. Our Nigerians are there, stranded at the border. They have been there for days. And now we have our military guys there, stranded as well.
Well, I mean, whatever explanation that they are given, whether from the Nigerian Air Force or from the Situation Room in charge of the evacuation of Nigerians from Sudan, or the embassy, the Nigerian embassy of in Sudan, what Nigerians want, what that gentleman talking about his son, women, pregnant women, what he wants, what we all want, is for the Nigerians who are stranded in Sudan to be brought home. Other countries, as I said earlier on, have been evacuating their people. Take the Americans, who have evacuated over 1,000 of their people. Do you know that they sent manned drones with reconnaissance, with area surveillance? America deployed its might to guide the buses taking the Americans on the ground to Port Sudan. And from Port Sudan, a naval ship was waiting. And you can be sure that that naval ship is not just there. It's a military warship to move the Americans first to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. The British, they've evacuated about 888 of their people. India has evacuated 3,000 people. And we are here. We're still arguing over who is in charge of buses, who is in charge of logistics. The NAF aircraft that has been sent there is stranded in Aswan, Egypt. Now, Air Peace is waiting on the Nigerian government to sort out the diplomatic issues. Air Peace already has landing permits.
Yes, they do.
I understand. They have landing permit. Yeah, so that tweet is not correct. Yeah. Air Peace has landing permit, but all these logistics on the Nigerian government side remain the problem. Now, if we're not sure of what we're doing, we talk about citizen diplomacy in this country. Citizen diplomacy means coming to the rescue of your people. The Nigerian Air Force crew that is there, just about 14 of them, in the C-130. Can't we be like the Americans too? Don't we have drones? Can't we go there and provide protection for our people? And if we cannot handle it, can we seek help? We can ask the Americans to help us. We can ask the British to help us. I mean, we can ask, we don't have to go through Egypt. Since it's an issue, the Egyptians are asking for visa. We can go through Port Sudan. And we're told that about 1,595 Nigerians are already in Port Sudan. Okay, nobody's going to ask for visa to exit Sudan. Yeah. So do we have a warship that we can send to Port Sudan and move our people to a safe place? Well, I don't know, maybe the Nigerian Navy doesn't even have only God knows. Only God knows what they have. So this is the issue. And the attitude of the Sudanese authorities, and also particularly of Egypt, raises a question, as I said earlier on, about African unity. Yeah. Egypt is a member of the African Union. Other members of that union are in distress, and Egypt is asking for visa. They are not going through Egypt to go and have to go and stay there. Nigeria is ready to leave the people immediately and bring them back home. This is an issue that the African Union should look into. All these regional economic bodies should look into the matter. Not African countries. They remember that they are part of Africa only when there's something to gain.
Absolutely.
When it is a crisis situation, they do eye service. The only exception to this rule in North Africa was the late Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, who had a strong vision of African Union and who provided leadership beyond Libya. But that's another story.
Yes, I mean, I've been asking who dropped the ball here. Why is the communication so wrong? I'll take one tweet from Chief of Staff who wrote, NEMA has no business in the evacuation. There are aircrafts in Air Force bases all over the country that can carry a minimum of 100 passengers per aircraft. The evacuation synergy should be between the NAF and our embassies in Sudan and Egypt. Government keep making same silly mistakes. I mean, I don't know where that communication came from in terms of the land border being closed or the NAF jet just being there sitting in Egypt for days. Ayo, quickly, before I come to Rufai.
I mean, so many things that Doctor has unpacked in this story, and it's just very sad. You mentioned something, you used the word management when you spoke the first time in terms of poor management and the way that things have been handled. And I think this is what it boils down to, where we are now arguing over the lives of people, our lives are at stake as to who is responsible. When there's the glory days, we see how some agencies come out and talk about, oh, what we're doing. And the moment that it's there, we hit challenges, people get quiet and they start pointing fingers. Oh, NEMA, it's meant to be you, it's meant to be you. The principal problem is our response to crisis situation. And again, unfortunately, we failed. Look at Ukraine. We had to be bailed out by Air Peace again. In this situation, we had to be bailed out by Air Peace again. When we talk about the Egyptian situation, what comes to mind is that imagine in the North American region, a country denies America of entry for its people. It's unheard of. Why? Because America is a superpower, which Nigeria is supposed to be in Africa. We're supposed to be a superpower. We're supposed to be the big brother of Africa. But unfortunately, when issues like this come up, we see that people call our bluff. Countries can't call our bluff. So what is it that we're not doing enough? So in terms of addressing that border issue, because guess what? Egypt, no matter how much you criticize, has a right to make their own decisions or laws deciding on how it favors them as a country or what benefit Nigeria is to them. If when nations are critical in terms of diplomatic relations, it's difficult to deny them access, no matter what we say. At the end of the day, yes, the AU should handle this. It is very sad that amongst ourselves in Africa, we don't support one another. But for our Nigerian people, they are the ones that owe the people. And I hope this puts paid to others who are saying, oh, count it a privilege that your people, your government is even going to evacuate you. What kind of mentality do we have in terms of government responsibility?
What is the federal government supposed to do? That is their duty. Rufai.
I mean, I don't mind those people with that kind of mentality. It's data that is low that makes them tweet all sorts of rubbish they tweet with the Shona mentality they have. We drop the ball.
Yes.
Up to the presidency level, we drop the ball. When a matter of emergency arises, you set up an interministerial consultative team for this evacuation, which will have involved the military, the intelligence agency, NEMA, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and everybody on board, and probably domicile it in the office of the president. That give the president updates as regards who is going to call. And they ought to have been meeting. This was since the 8th of April. They didn't meet. Now they left it as usual. They just thought the evacuation was going to be easy, but now it's proving that it's not easy. That's why when the Nigerian Air Force jet got there, they couldn't even evacuate people because those are really big planes. Hercules C-130 is a transport military plane. But they couldn't get people out because people are still stuck in the border. And it's not only Egypt, even Ethiopia to shut their border against Nigerian students. But like I said before, was there an intelligence official on ground that will be able to say in Sudan, okay, the best route is Port of Sudan, not Egypt? Because that's what the NAF officials, because this is a logistical and distance, they're now saying you have to change routes to be able to do it quickly. So we drop the ball and the blame goes up to the president. So what can we do? If we can still set up that panel, allow people liaise with the minister on ground and with the ambassador on ground, let us be able to see what we can do to be able to save the country and start to evacuate them. And for the man that is asking journalists how they spend $1.2 million, is he joking? That's not the way. It is after we finish, you will now bring a receipt by receipt breakdown of what you have done. Yeah. My prayer this morning, God in heaven, let our people come back safe. And afterwards, we can now fight ourselves indoors. But this is a shame and a failure of our system again.
Absolutely. We shall take our final story. If you can pull that story up, please. Well, as of this morning, I believe that President Muhammadu Buhari has started negotiating with the president of Egypt. So hopefully that will work out.
Ought to have been done long ago.
Absolutely.
Long ago. We keep dropping the ball.
All right, then. We'll take our final story. The Lagos state government has responded to a viral video showing the demolition of buildings in the Ajawo estate area of the state. In the video, a woman could be heard crying out for help because her house was being demolished with her personal belongings still inside the building. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria and the Lagos State Building Control Agency, in a joint statement on Sunday, said 13 buildings in the estate were removed for lacking approvals and permits in contravention of the state building laws. Well, let's take a look at that video before we come back for a discussion.
See, they have demolished my house. I was in the hospital. They just called me that they have started demolishing our house. They are demolishing the whole street. Oh, they just come and started demolishing. See, they are demolishing everywhere. They are demolishing. Oh, Jesus. Jesus, I could not bring out my property. I could not bring out my documents. They are demolishing everywhere.
I mean, there are so many stories with this. Ayo, I want you to just give a quick breakdown because we don't have much time.
So very quickly, what they have mentioned, what the authorities have said is that they didn't have the permits to build houses here. So the question you then ask, because when we hear the agonizing cry of the woman in the background, you can feel emotive. But we have seen a number of times where Lagosians or builders flout the building laws. But what then ask is then, who are the regulators? Why did they allow them get to this point before having to demolish at the end of the day? But we must also take notice. If you don't have a plan, don't build. This is what eventually happens.
I mean, I know, but they also have to have some sort of humanity into what we do here in Nigeria. This is completely, I mean, this needs to be looked into further. Well, I wish we had more time on What's Trending Today. Thank you all for your great analysis as always. Well, that's all I have for you on What's Trending Today. I'll see you all tomorrow.